the dawn of Adam. Before beginnings, an endless hush drapes a field of stars. A solemn presence proclaims a creation yet to walk the earth. Stewardship and choice are entrusted to a future earthborn being. Heaven itself seems to listen as the order settles over creation. A radiant court gathers, ranks align beneath vaults of living light. Apart from the ranks, Iblis watches with a calculating stillness. A proclamation resounds. A vicegerent will be placed upon the earth. Rapture and gravity mingle as purpose settles over the hosts. Concern stirs gently through the ranks like a ripple of light. They ask with reverence, what wisdom lies behind this decree? At the margin, Iblis listens, eyes weighing possibilities in silence. The hall holds together, order unbroken even as questions shimmer. An answer descends. Knowledge beyond you will yet be unveiled. In perfect humility, the hosts incline as awe softens the vast hall. At the edge, Iblis stiffens, measuring destiny with narrowed eyes. The hall trembles gently with awe as the decree settles like light. Foundations rise, mountains shoulder the sky above newborn seas. Valleys breathe with mist, waters find channels as cycles are set. Provision is appointed, rich soils spread like a promise of harvests. Seasons and signs are ordained, the air feels measured and calm. On a quiet bank, a formed body rests in noble stillness. Sunlight traces contours, revealing the promise of a future voice. The river glimmers as the clay figure rests in perfect quiet. Contours imply breath, yet none arrives. Time holds its breath. At the garden's threshold, the clay form waits upright in silence. A wary presence approaches, drawn by curiosity and doubt. Knuckles meet clay. A hollow ring answers the probing tap. The gate gleams. Curiosity deepens into measured calculation. He circles the unmoving form, hungry for secrets it might conceal. He peers into the lifeless eyes, testing the empty windows of clay. Hands and chest are examined, form weighed for the spirit to come. He steps back, thoughts tightening like a coiled thread. Ages fold into an amber evening. The clay form faces the horizon. Light thins to gold thread. Patience is carved into the silence. The world waits, a breath withheld at the rim of night. Dusk gathers. Stillness thickens like honey over the gate. First light spills. Something unseen stirs within the formed clay. The breath enters. Awareness flickers behind newly lit eyes. Breath flows to limbs. The first inhale shapes a living chest. Eyes open. The world arrives, sharp and wondrous at once. A sudden sneeze startles him, the first sound of a new voice. He gathers himself, breath steadying, wonder rising like dawn. A first phrase forms, tender and assured, blessing upon his tongue. Mercy surrounds him like light, a quiet embrace answering back. He opens his eyes, newborn certainty, gentle in his gaze. He steps into the garden, feet learning the softness of earth. He brushes a leaf, its veins speak texture to his fingers. A drop of water rests on his tongue, cool and astonishing. He listens, colors sing through leaves, feathers, and flowing water. Innocence lights his eyes. The garden answers with beauty. Symbols gather like stars. He stands ready to receive. Knowledge descends, arranging itself with graceful inevitability. Names settle within, meanings find their homes. Constellations align. Understanding blooms like dawn. Silence rests. The hall holds the shape of wisdom. He speaks. Sounds meet meanings with crystalline certainty. As he names, forms answer, aligning to their realities. Comprehension flowers. Each word lands like a sure-footed step. Witnessing light gathers. Certainty settles over the hall. The lesson complete. The names rest within him, bright and quiet. Ranks of light attend as he prepares to demonstrate. He names with clarity. Purpose brightens across their faces. Recognition spreads in waves. Understanding settles like dawn. At the margin, one watches in silence, storm hidden behind the eyes. Purpose unfolds. Harmony gathers, though one heart remains closed. The command echoes, honor Adam. A hush falls over the radiant hall. Waves of angels bend together, a single breath moving through light. Only one remains upright. The harmony fractures at the margin. Adam stands still at the center, unaware of pride hardening nearby. The hall glows with obedience, yet a dark seed takes root apart. Silence thickens. Pride steels itself against the shining command. A single breath passes. He does not bend. The rift widens. His gaze hardens, choosing self over command and harmony. Around him, devotion flows like water. He stands like stone. The air chills around his pride. Consequence gathers on the horizon. Judgment is declared. The threshold hums with terrible certainty. He pleads for delay, voice thin against the vast decree. Respite is granted. The light steadies like a seal impressed. He vows to mislead Adam's children along many paths. The threshold holds its brightness. Destiny takes its appointed course. Adam wanders deeper, wonder widening with each living detail. He tastes a drop of water, delight brightening his new world. Birdsong and gentle beasts weave calm around his careful steps. Wonder brims, yet a quiet ache of solitude settles beside it. He looks across the water, sensing a space meant for another. In cool shade, new life stirs, light dances on fresh eyes. Adam approaches, astonishment softening instantly into joy. Their eyes meet, kinship blooms like a quiet, certain sunrise. Joy swells. The garden seems to lean closer to witness. First words are soft, as if taught by the leaves and light. They wander beneath dappled light, steps aligning like an unspoken vow. Their voices soften as they share first questions, names, and small laughter. They match gestures instinctively, mirroring curiosity and quiet delight. A shared glance seals their rhythm. The grove becomes a home in motion. Their steps continue as one, the path unfolding like a promise ahead. Guidance arrives like clear daylight. Enjoy all, save one sacred tree. They listen with earnest hearts, absorbing command with humility. Resolve steadies within them, a pledge to cherish what is given. They step back, honoring the boundary marked by light and stillness. With gratitude, they turn to the garden's gifts and walk on. At the garden's fringe, patient eyes watch from behind layered leaves. He studies their routines, mapping moments when trust loosens its guard. Malice settles to patience, plans coil like shadows at his feet. He withdraws deeper into shade, choosing the hour for a subtle approach. They come near the marked tree, wonder tempered by remembered guidance. A voice sidles in, threading desire with promises of enduring dominion. Hawa listens, eyes flicking between counsel and caution. Desire and fear weigh evenly. Silence stretches like a tightened string. The whisper sweetens, painting disobedience as wisdom and a lasting crown. Adam's hand hovers. Hawa meets his gaze, a fragile nod between them. His fingers close. The garden's hush sharpens as innocence thins. They partake together, and awareness descends like sudden, heavy weather. In an instant, their faces change, startle, shame, and recognition. They draw back from the tree, the ring of water suddenly cold. We have changed. Cover yourself, quickly. These leaves will do. Tie them here, hold there. Hide the seams. Let no wind pull them apart. Does it hold? I feel the breeze differently now. We will make more, stronger, closer, until we are covered. Adam, Hawa, where are you? We heard the call and felt afraid. We were uncovered. We hid ourselves. We ate when told not to. Our hearts tremble with sorrow. The camel-head cauldrons of Besida. Daylight slants across woven carpets as the majlis fills with guests. Safuk sits at the head, quiet authority in his posture and gaze. Platters arrive in sequence, hands hover with practiced restraint. Gratitude passes between men like a tide of respectful glances. Safuk's eyes sweep the trays, measuring satisfaction and order. Just outside, the courtyard bakes while shade clings to a mud wall. A tan mongrel dog has burrowed a hollow beside the rice heap. 3 tiny pups nuzzle close, suckling, ears twitching at flies. Scent of meat and cardamom hangs. Dust moves like lazy smoke. From inside, muted movement. Out here, a fragile peace holds. Men of stature form a line. Samir is ushered toward an honored tray. Samir's gaze flicks to the doorway, thoughts tightening at the sight beyond. He reaches for bread, as Safuk presides just within arm's length. Etiquette holds, right hands serve, eyes avert, gratitude is shown in silence. Samir steadies himself, duty and memory meet behind his eyes. Silence gathers as small cups pass, and the bitter coffee is poured. Safuk's lips curl with measured pride as he gestures to the contented hall. Across the space, Samir meets his gaze, choosing each word with care. The hall listens. Breath is held as words weigh more than food. Samir sips the bitter kahwa, resolve bright beneath old hunger. Safuk leans forward, ring-tapping brass as the challenge is posed. Samir chooses careful words, weighing wealth against sacrifice. Eyes shift between them. A hush folds the room in tight around honor. The tapping ring stills. Silence waits for an answer worthy of pride. Samir meets the moment. Generosity is measured by the last coin, not the chest. Samir speaks the name with conviction. Khalaf bin Daija. Safuk's pride stiffens as the room absorbs the challenge. Eyes dart between them. A hush settles over brass and carpets. Safuk declares they will ride and witness with their own eyes. Samir lowers his gaze, the decision already moving the room. Outside, horses stamp and camels kneel beneath the awning's shade. Safuk issues curt orders. Grooms hurry to obey. Samir saddles a wiry mount, listening more than looking. Their paths cross without words. Purpose bridges the distance. Hooves ring on hard earth as the yard readies to move. The caravan gathers at the pale margin, where dunes meet sky. A hawk's distant cry rides the wind as scouts press forward. Samir watches the empty north, measuring distance and fate. Safuk signals the column. Shadows swing like sundials. The line unwinds into the flats, the desert, vast and exacting. A small fire breathes beneath a thin crescent and cold stars. Samir studies the embers, fear tightening into a hard line. Apart, Safuk sharpens steel and thought in equal measure. The night holds its breath between oath and uncertainty. Coals banked. The plane returns to cold and measured silence. At first light, the caravan tops a ridge and sees Basida. Samir swallows. The emptiness will test any host. Safuk narrows his eyes, measuring distance and resolve. The line descends, hooves ticking on the hard pan like beads. Basida opens like a dried sea, featureless and demanding. At the plain's edge, riders squint toward faint black specks of tents. The outriders confer, pointing, reading the silence and the dust. A gloved hand maps the emptiness. No wood, no stones, only hard pan. One scout lifts his lance, marking the specks as at Khalaf bin Dayeja's tents. They wheel their mounts, ready to report what this empty land demands. Samir eases alongside Safuk on the pale, breathless plain. He warns, here, a man cannot lift a pot or light a fire. Safuk answers curtly, generosity is proven where it is hardest. Between them, the land offers nothing but cracked crust and wind. They press on, silence, sealing a decision the plain will judge. From the caravan's flank, a swift rider breaks for the black tents. He cuts across the white hardpan, the satchel thumping at his side. Closer now, the tents grow from specks to tooth-dark triangles. He reins in, breath and dust drifting as he calls his message. Within the camp, calm quickens, hands move without wasting breath. Khalaf steps out, gaze steady, weighing need against the land's refusal. Traders clear space, cloth bales thud into a neat windward stack. Women coax ember nests, eyes searching the white horizon for an answer. Khalaf gives a quiet nod. The camp gathers itself to do the impossible. 6 great copper cauldrons are set out on the pale, unforgiving ground. Khalaf measures the earth, 3 supports per pot, 18 in all. He looks up, calculating, the cauldrons gleam like challenges. He marks each site, 18 small triangles etched into the crust. Decision settles. The camp waits for what audacity will demand next. Khalaf measures the ground, his decision steady as the plain itself. He orders 18 camels, each life weighed as fuel for honor. Knives flash, men work quickly, reverent in their movements. A line of heads is borne forward, grim pedestals for the feast. 3 by 3, the skulls settle beneath each pot at Khalaf's nod. Bales of al-Asa cloth unfurl. Trade turns to tinder at Khalaf's word. Strips twist and darken with fat, a makeshift fuse for generosity. A spark catches, smoke feathers upward in the windless heat. Flames lick the cauldrons, heat shimmers over the bone tripods. A distant rider circles, taking in the audacity blazing at Basida's heart. Samir steps forward and begins a concise blessing before the gathered men. Khalaf listens, hands resting on his knees, the fire's heat shimmering between them. Samir's voice steadies as he praises the host and invokes mercy spared by a right hand. Men tilt their heads toward the poem. Khalaf sits framed by 6 great pots and steady flames. The final blessing lands. A quiet pride moves through the circle like a shared breath. Safuk steps aside with Samir, away from the circle, the fires dim behind them. Safuk draws a pouch of gold from his cloak, weighing it once in his palm. Samir accepts the pouch. Their hands meet, a quiet oath fulfilled between them. A breath leaves Samir's shoulders. He bows his head with unspoken gratitude. Safuk's voice is low, promise kept for truth kept, and nothing more needs saying. Khalaf notices the exchange and approaches with open curiosity, the circle falling hushed. Safuk meets his look and gives his name, the wager stated without flourish. The camp quiets. A loose strip of cloth stirs as the truth settles over the gathering. Khalaf's eyes warm. He nods once, accepting the story without offense or vanity. Samir watches, relief and wonder mingling as the wager passes into shared respect. Without delay, Khalaf turns toward his tent to fetch a pouch of gold of his own. He returns and offers the pouch to Samir, honoring what was granted in Al-Jarba's majlis. Safuk's reserve breaks. A respectful smile touches his face at the measure repaid. Samir lowers his gaze, receiving the gift with gratitude layered upon gratitude. Around them, men murmur approval as generosity circles back on itself, complete. Khalaf steps to Safuk. Their forearms meet in a firm clasp, shadows crossing. Men around them nod, the approval quiet, but sure as desert stone. Samir watches the hosts, a relieved smile beginning at the corners of his mouth. The plain seems less barren, sky and earth open as if to bless the accord. Khalaf and Safuk release their grip, a final nod sealing honor between equals. Basida flattens into dusk as copper light bleeds across the horizon. The cooling pots stand dignified, their soot catching the last light. A cluster of men gather, their silhouettes softened by the fading glow. A soft song rises. The plain absorbs the last color of day. Night encroaches. The skulls and pots keep a solemn, enduring vigil. Lantern light gathers the men. A seasoned poet begins his long ode. The poet lifts his hand, eyes bright, words travel like sparks. Safuk and Khalaf sit shoulder to shoulder, listening without a word. Verses braid tribes and journeys, the night sky burns with sharp stars. The poet's voice settles, the day the sun is rolled up. The camera drifts into a hushed ocean of stars. Galaxies drift like lanterns as darkness deepens. A shimmer of sacred lines begins to gather. The script brightens once, then settles into stillness. Near a quiet nebula, particles gather like returning birds. A warm halo forms, enfolding the sacred phrase. Rings of light ripple outward through the starfields. The halo steadies, the cosmos holds its breath. A colossal sun hangs, its surface roiling in quiet majesty. Flames fold inward as if silk pulled through a ring. Layers tighten, the star gathering itself to a core. At last, the furnace dims, the sphere rests in hush. Constellations loosen, points of fire begin to slip. Thousands tumble like pearls from a broken strand. Dust veils bloom and evaporate into oceanic dark. Silence returns as constellations empty to husks. A horizon of titan peaks shudders under slate daylight. Rock faces crumble into drifting grains. Ridges soften as invisible hands smooth stone. The spines dissolve into airborne dunes that climb the sky. A gray daylight broods over an endless ocean, calm before upheaval. Heat blooms beneath the surface as vapor begins to lace the air. Waves tower like walls, their crests fraying into luminous spray. Boiling brightness ripples across the sea, as if the deep overturns. Water ascends in columns, drafting a cathedral of mist and surge. Night deepens into a gray shroud. Horizons blur into breathing fog. From the murk, silhouettes gather like memories nearing speech. The dark itself trembles, boundaries loosening like threads undone. A low, thunderless pressure swells as the unseen draws near. Two radiant forms appear, drifting toward a shared, unspoken center. They align, side by side, their lights finding a common rhythm. Intertwined, they turn as one, shoulders touching like vows kept. Together they face the boundless, their glow deepening with calm. Above the void, a colossal luminous ledger begins to unfurl. Pages of light peel open, script glimmering like feathered fire. Lines rise from the parchment, hovering in patient constellations. Featherlight radiance settles back, as if knowledge returns to rest. Vast glowing scrolls wheel in slow gravitational ballet. From their surfaces, text streams outward into living filaments. Filaments weave themselves into constellations of meaning. The ribbons continue their orbit, holding the woven sky in balance. A vast crimson chasm flickers beneath a silent, starless sky. Edges char and gleam as fire limbs rake the gulf's walls. Embers rise and vanish, where darkness swallows their light. The chasm breathes, heat veins pulsing in the molten floor. Beyond the lip, an emptiness waits, swallowing all glow. Sunlit terraces spill with shimmering streams and living color. Water glows with color as fruit gleams in perfumed haze. Groves whisper as terraces lead toward a luminous horizon. Close to the water, prismatic light dances on the surface. Terraces, streams, and groves unite in serene abundance. A dark chamber opens to a mirrored expanse of memory. Lanterns flare as reflections reveal measured decisions. The pathway forward clarifies, steady and beckoning. Images fade as the chosen way holds its calm luminance. A doorway waits with patient clarity at the chamber's end. Black planets drift cautiously along curves beyond sight. They hesitate at perception's edge, reading the dark. One slips beyond sight, leaving only a trace of wake. The void holds their oath, silent and withdrawn. Silk dark clouds draw a quiet veil across the sky. The air exhales cool and slow as darkness deepens. A brighter point appears, then hides behind the moving veil. The horizon shifts from ink to charcoal as night settles. A fine line of sun unfurls along the Earth's rim. Colors return in careful gradients across the waking sky. The world inhales as gentle warmth touches the field. A fine breeze slides, and warmth settles into the earth. A shaft of radiance condenses, spanning the firmament. Waves of light robe a faceless, towering presence. Radiant spans unfurl outward, steady and immense. The firmament holds its breath beneath the bright span. The messenger raises a hand-shaped flare. The cosmos listens. Every star seems to lean closer in silent attention. The declaration ripples through the breadth of space. A still dignity settles. The message stands unwavering. A shadowed eddy gathers at the boundary of light. The radiance expands, the shadow wavers and recoils. Tendrils crumble into dust motes that drift harmlessly. The boundary clears, only soft light remains. From immeasurable height, Earth floats fragile and small. The camera eases closer, continents glow faintly. A thin halo hums like a whispered prayer around Earth. Fragility is felt in the silence of the surrounding void. On the planet's night side, city lights flicker like fragile embers. A storm turns, its luminous eye revealing breadth and boundary. Rivers of light trace borders no ocean or wind can read. Heat blooms whisper of shelter, labor, and rest below. From this height, all veins of light feel precious and small. The frame narrows until a single path of light cuts the dark. A question, unseen, gathers weight along the shining curve. The way divides, two currents unfurling in light and shadow. Both paths extend, quiet as breath, into a depth without end. Which current holds you, and where will it carry you now? Within, a circular room of light opens like a held breath. Words revolve above, each leaving a dew-like echo below. A single phrase brightens, and the chamber listens. The room reflects the phrase until it rests in memory. Quiet clarity gathers, as if the mind has gently aligned. A sunlit plain stretches, clear and still under a wide blue. Dust moves, but the pillar holds without the slightest tremor. Its glow neither sways nor dims, a center for the day. The land keeps time by it, and the air grows reverent. Unmoved by drift or glare, the message stands and remains. From the earth, threads of intention rise, clear and tender. They gather upward, drawn by a vast and sovereign current. Each stream keeps its color as it yields to the greater flow. Gently directed, their courses settle without force. All intentions rise, gathered and held by a single will. A long corridor stretches toward a single open doorway of pure light. Footprints glow, each stopping shy of the threshold, as if paused by awe. The threshold brightens, a calm invitation rather than a demand. A single new step appears, resolute, crossing into the light. The hall remains, patient and still, as the doorway waits in mercy. The blue world retreats until it hangs as a single luminous dot. A tender ring of light gathers around it, like memory becoming form. Space is vast. The ring hums with quiet guardianship. The glow holds steady, a small vow suspended in the night. A dim aureole turns around the point, measuring time like a pulse. The circle brightens, generous, then thins again in gentle cadence. A measured heartbeat of radiance circles the fragile ember. Mercy completes its circuit and begins anew without strain. An onyx field of silence waits, polished and perfectly still. One golden letter emerges, edge lit, as if carved by light. Letters follow in dignified sequence, forming a measured inscription. The phrase settles, its edges gleam with quiet, reverent fire. Silence returns, but the meaning lingers like light upon the heart. The last glow fades until only a breath of light remains. For a suspended moment, the universe holds without motion or voice. A final hush, Surah at-Takwir, a visual recital. A vault of stars unfurls. The Milky Way arches in sacred stillness. The camera drifts upward, inviting breath and reverence. A faint aurora breathes along the horizon, a veil upon infinity. The darkness steadies, awaiting words to kindle the night. In velvet black, a dignified glow gathers at the center. Lines of calligraphy emerge, stroke by graceful stroke. The script settles, radiating a gentle, living halo. A hush deepens, the words rest, clear and inviolable. A colossal sun hangs alone, surface restless with living fire. Its flares retract, radiance folds like silk drawn inward. A shadow drapes over the star, soft but unstoppable. Brightness dwindles to an ember, breathing in heavy silence. Constellations loosen, first streaks carve ash-gray trails. Star after star extinguishes, leaving velvet hollows in the sky. A cascade of meteors crosses frame, embers cooling mid-flight. Silence deepens as the firmament dims and unravels. Under a pale sky, a silent range stands in suspended breath. A tremor ripples, peaks shudder as if weightless at their cores. Ridges unravel into streaming grains, lofting like upward rivers. The skyline erases, ground trembling under an ocean of drifting stone. The ocean lies vast and dim, as a ruddy glow rises beneath. Steam unfurls across the surface, veiling the growing ember below. Fissures of light split the swell, threading molten paths across the water. Crests ignite like ribbons of fire, then fold under into the boiling expanse. The sea becomes a vast cauldron, rumbling with hidden fire and rising heat. Veils of light drift in twilight space, gathering with quiet purpose. Two distinct streams of forms approach, aligning as if matched in essence. Above them, ethereal pages shimmer into view, lines of script glowing clear. Far to the left, a fierce crimson blaze seethes. To the right, dawn-like radiance nears. The paired paths fan outward, ordered and calm, as reckoning unrolls before them. The heavens unveil a grand archive, sheets of light rolling open overhead. Pages flutter without sound, arranging themselves into constellations of testimony. The writing intensifies, as if the cosmos itself leans in to read. The sky arranges into sweeping arcs, the testimony spanning horizon to horizon. A furnace chasm seethes to the left, a gentle radiance gathers to the right. The threshold holds still, as both realms press inward with measured intensity. Shadows waver in the heat on one side, silhouettes bloom in the light on the other. The divide glows with balance, a place where every choice feels weighed. Planets and wandering stars trace sure arcs in a cathedral of night. Some lights dip behind cosmic veils, then return in calm, appointed courses. The firmament pulses with breath-like cadence as the camera glides among orbits. An oath seems inscribed in motion, slow and certain, across the vaulted firmament. Before sunrise, dunes rest in deep blue silence. The first thread of light stitches the eastern edge. A breeze rises, and the sand exhales in golden sighs. Color warms, indigo softens into rose and amber. The sun's rim appears, and morning arrives inevitable. Within darkness, a pearly radiance washes the chamber. A towering winged aura takes form, layers of dignified light. Words glow, noble messenger, obeyed, trustworthy. The radiance pulses gently, certainty without a word. Light intensifies, the chamber gathers quiet majesty. Shadowy wisps at the periphery dissolve on contact. Assurance settles, the glow steadies into calm. The message is pure, untouched by any cast-out darkness. Earth hangs alone, a blue pearl in velvet black. The camera withdraws. The world begins to diminish. Farther still, the blue turns to a single bright bead. A solemn question hangs over the shrinking light. A calm glow gathers. Dignified words begin to form. Line by line, the message appears with poised clarity. The letters rest, their glow settling into the night. Light fades to black, leaving a resonant stillness. The first of mankind, Adam's story. Before time takes breath, an endless void waits in silent poise. A hush gathers, as though the emptiness leans in to listen. Possibility gathers like dew, waiting for the word that awakens. Creation nears its cue, the stage of existence set in perfect calm. An endless court of light opens, ranks upon ranks in radiant order. Wonder ripples through the assembly as the command is heralded. Hearts incline, listening for the decree to shape a new beginning. Awe settles like dew as the court receives the coming purpose. Gabriel steps forward, bearing the proclamation before endless light. Michael observes, contemplative, weighing the gravity of the decree. Between herald and witness, the court holds its breath together. The proclamation unfurls, encircled by ranks that shine without number. Questions rise gently, born of memory and care for what may unfold. Gabriel receives the chorus, steady and measured in his bearing. Michael stands behind Gabriel, attentive and prepared to relay wisdom. The assembly waits for meaning beyond what memory can recount. Peace like dawnlight washes the court. Assurance settles every heart. The radiance gathers, gentle, certain, and infinitely reassuring. Acceptance flows through the ranks, like a tide guided by wisdom. Calm illumination lingers, leaving the court wrapped in serenity. The young earth heaves as mountains thrust upward from the crust. Waters gather, carving basins as continents cool and settle. Winds polish the ground, patient artisans shaping the plain. Balance emerges, seasons marked, measures set for life to come. Provision awaits within the quiet architecture of the earth. Gabriel descends across a valley of many earths and colors. Michael arrives bearing a vessel of light to receive the earth. Gabriel gathers handfuls from terraces, dunes, and riverbeds. Michael steadies the vessel as soils of many kinds are placed within. Across deserts and valleys, the measure is completed with grace. Within a sanctified garden threshold, the clay form stands complete. Proportions reveal symmetry, limbs and features resolved in balance. A hollow timbre lingers, like pottery awaiting the fire of life. The garden breathes around the stillness, time hanging in balance. Night gathers, years pass like breaths around the silent figure. Its surface dries, a pottery ring answers the curious touch. Time circles in silence, the garden keeping faithful watch. Expectation deepens, the stillness prepares for a first breath. Iblis circles with narrowed eyes, testing the silent vessel's ring. A knuckle taps the chest, the hollow tone answers sharply. From a measured distance, Gabriel watches with a firm, steady gaze. Pride coils within Iblis as he studies the form's silent hollowness. The garden holds its hush, intent and vigilance share the space. Still clay stands in sacred hush, as light gathers above. Radiance crowns the form, the first warmth touches clay. Eyes awaken, wonder dawns upon a once silent face. Fingers curl, breath gathers within the new vessel. The first inhale fills the chest, life settles and steadies. Awareness floods him, a sudden sneeze startles the quiet. He blesses with clarity, gratitude shapes his first utterance. Mercy is returned, a messenger's welcome rests like balm. A shared peace settles, beginnings find gentle footing. The path ahead glimmers, words kindle purpose within him. Before him, signs assemble, language waits on his tongue. He names with care, each word fits like a destined key. Guidance points and affirms, understanding takes root. Array by array, meaning gathers like dew at dawn. He speaks, the hall seems to echo with bright comprehension. Ranks assemble in radiance, an expectant hush prevails. He begins, names unfold like clear water over stone. Understanding dawns, reverence lowers attentive eyes. Clarity gathers, the hall aligns around a single truth. Completion rests, minds and hearts meet in luminous accord. A command resounds in light, the moment gathers holiness. Honor is proclaimed, grace trembles upon every feathered edge. He stands at the heart, recognition approaches like dawn. Consent flows through ranks, obedience becomes beautiful order. The air itself seems to bow, a sacred threshold is crossed. Ranks of angels bow as Adam stands at the assembly's luminous center. Adam breathes, humbled, as light crowns the bowed multitude. The ranks deepen their reverence, forming waves of luminous wings. From the side aisle, Adam's solitude contrasts the ocean of devotion. A solemn hush settles as grace gathers around the honored human. Amid bowed ranks, one figure remains rigid. Iblis does not bend. Adam turns slightly toward Iblis, sensing the fracture in harmony. Iblis fixes his gaze forward, pride hardening into open defiance. A silent corridor opens between obedience and pride like a drawn line. The assembly holds its breath as contrast sharpens into destiny. Gabriel gestures toward a distant tree as Adam listens with reverent focus. This is guidance and a mercy, Gabriel assures with calm authority. Adam repeats the boundary, committing it to heart and memory. Gabriel smiles, sealing the counsel with reassurance and grace. Together they walk the path, the sign standing bright upon the horizon. Night settles over the garden as Adam kneels by the murmuring stream. From behind the leaves, Iblis studies him, intent and calculating. A pebble slips. Adam glances up, sensing a presence in the dark. Hidden deeper, Iblis waits, letting uncertainty work upon the heart. Adam returns to his task, the watcher's scheme taking quiet root. Iblis approaches with smooth words as the tree looms like a question. Promises are painted in honeyed tones. Adam weighs the counsel he was given. He steps closer, lowering his voice like a secret laid at a threshold. The fruit glows pale. Adam's hand lifts, then halts at the edge of will. A nod from Iblis fixes the moment. A boundary flickers thin as silk. Fingers touch. The taste is brief, and understanding floods like cold light. He steps back from the tree, shoulders sinking beneath the sudden weight. Far along the path, Gabriel appears, his face clouded with concern. Adam clutches his chest, breath caught, the garden falling into a hush. The path between them shortens. Mercy draws near to the shaken heart. Dawn gathers softly as Adam lowers his head beside the grove of light. He speaks remorse with clarity, seeking mercy from the one who hears. Gabriel stands beside him, lifting a hand in reassurance and blessing. The grove brightens. Hope returns to Adam's gaze like sunrise upon water. Together they rise, the path of gratitude opening into the new day. The command descends. Earth will be the dwelling and the trial. Adam's lineage is named as travelers, entrusted with guidance. The garden listens as destinies open like paths beyond light. Acceptance settles like dew. A passage waits for the first step. Clouds part as the path from light bends toward the living world. Gabriel guides, then recedes, as responsibility draws nearer. The guide's light thins, leaving space for a solitary mission. Earth rises vast. The air grows thick with promise and duty. Feet meet soil of many hues. Wind combs the open grasses. Provision is pointed out: water, shelter, and a grateful way. The land receives him. Gratitude steadies the settling heart. He looks to horizon and inward, choosing a path with intent. Rivers, valleys, and paired beasts traverse a living tapestry. Adam observes creation's signs, reading duty in their order. Work and remembrance are coupled, hands to earth, heart to praise. At the far ridge, a watcher marks his resolve against guidance. Night unveils a sky alive with constellations like written paths. Stones are set in order. Gratitude rises with steady hands. From a height of light, assurance watches the seeker's intent. Resolve takes root. Bread in the night, Umar's mercy. Umar walks at night, checking on the people in quiet Medina streets. He pauses, listening, as a faint sobbing drifts from a small house. Inside, children cry while their mother murmurs, "Be patient, my children." Umar steps closer to the door, troubled by the sound of hunger. "Peace be upon you, O servant of Allah. Why are your children crying?" The mother lowers her gaze. "They are hungry, and I have nothing to feed them." Umar glances at the pot, sensing something is wrong with the food. He sees only stones boiling, no grain, no broth, just a mother's ruse. Umar's eyes moisten. He steps back, resolve hardening in the night. He turns away, striding toward the treasury in the cool moonlight. A heavy door and a quiet courtyard. The treasury lies still and secure. Umar lifts a sack of flour, testing its weight with a quiet breath. An aide reaches to help, but Umar refuses with a firm glance. "By Allah, I will carry it. I am responsible for them," he says. He steps into the lane, burdened yet swift, heading back through the night. The city sleeps. Only his steady steps disturb the silvered silence. He arrives and kneels, lowering the sack inside the small, dim room. He opens the sack, measures flour, and sets water near the hearth. The mother watches silently, hope rising with the soft spill of flour. Umar kneads dough with patient hands, turning water and flour to bread. He shapes small rounds and sets them on the hot clay surface to bake. A child peeks closer, eyes wide at the scent of real food. He breaks bread, places it in bowls, and gestures for the children to eat. The children eat eagerly, cheeks brightening in the lamp's warm circle. The mother blesses the food softly, tears shining but steady. Umar tends the fire, turning another bread with steady care. Little hands slow, bellies full. Drowsy smiles replace earlier tears. Umar smiles softly, watching their faces brighten in the gentle light. He pours water into small cups and sets them within easy reach. The room settles. Only slow breaths and lamplight flicker remain. Umar sits near the door, watching, eyes wet with quiet gratitude. A single tear gathers, catching the lamplight before it falls. The mother rests too, her face eased by the children's soft breathing. Umar adjusts the blanket gently over the smallest child. He stands to leave, casting one last look across the peaceful room. Outside, the alley glows silver, his steps fade into the quiet.